Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna
So I remember when I cooked up the bottom of my silver spoon, poured some breakfast cereal, and dug into a plasma deluge. There's a free toy at the bottom of the box. A voodoo doll in the shape of Christ and a junky Goldilocks. Now the city sounds like an ocean as cars cut the inky night and street lamps dance underwater. Orange windows full of sleeping skulls sway in the haloed Chicago sky. 10, 20 years ago, we were just kids pretending to be grown up. We spent neon evenings burning chemicals through the forehead. I could barely stand myself, slumped in the corner, naked, giggling. We hid together, broke, dreaming of wild years to come. We cruised the freeway looking for what would be our has-been nights. We crouched in murky rooms, drinking away the humidity and toasting rain. We fell in love, but we didn't tell each other because we were too cool. We screamed and yawned at those who dared to play it safe, who dared to waste their lives by building them. I spent forever contemplating eternity, and each moment trying to black out. I've wasted my life trying to find the meaning of life. Now I drown in layers of irony and contradiction. I've wiped my ass with the angels and spent years trying to forgive myself. I've sat in alleys beating a drum while others chewed money grinning. You sucked the fire out of my belly, and I gave you the salt of the earth. Your diamond chin slept in my thighs, and we had the same dream that night. I cried all over you like a baby breastfeeding, and you still think there's a future. But no matter how much I drink, I still have all the memories. A bottle being rubbed like a genie lamp as I wake after midnight. Nothing has changed, but everything is different. Another lost night finding only myself. We always knew it would end ugly like this, but we're still surprised. This city incubates our madness. These streets have the ghosts of our former selves on each corner, waiting for a bus, hailing a cab, kissing goodbye, not knowing it's our last time. Like eating a meal with something on your mind. We finally become our real selves and no longer care about the novelty of whatever our real selves might look like. We're not going to die before we're 30 anymore. We're there. We're going to think of something more to do. We survived. We're free. And we're not afraid of anything. Hair in the wind, natural smile. She drifts toward, past, and away. I don't ever want to know her better. She's perfect.
I am a word collector, a collector of words, from the ones most common to others, quite absurd. I put them down on paper and file and jots and notes and lines and my thoughts. It's not a haiku, epitaph, or prose. It's my decision where each word goes. Lyrical, sonnet, concrete or ekphrastic, verbally or orally. Well, all of it fantastic. It's not a villanelle, tank, or rhyme, just a collection of words, sometimes in order. Yeah, not in other times. Alliteration of literacy, but that is my choice. A limerick, quinquan, and no, think I will pass. Not quite my voice. Bordering close to the margin, the font doesn't matter from the first to the last. A ghazal or an epic, one line or two, epigram, acrostic, pen, black or blue. I'm collecting some words. How about you? Sonnet, verse, free or blank, I'm storing the words in a secure word bank. Pantoum and others, write it all down. Save it, store it, never ignore it. Big up the long ones, verbose or verboten. Thou not come up short, and some words long forgotten. Nouns, adverbs, adjectives, and more. Pronouns, prepositions, interjections, for sure. Stop. Now I'm just listing. But do I sense offensiveness? Anyway, thanks for your support. I will keep on collecting. I will not abort. I am a word collector, a collector of words.
Is this the end of days? Or is this unnerving quiet the eye of the storm? That one moment of weightlessness hanging in the air before gravity reclaims what's hers. I've fallen before, burned as I streaked across a red sky. I know what it is to make a crater, to crawl out, broken but breathing still. I know what it is to yearn, to want to live again and walk upright, to seize my second chance. Maybe there's some grief. Maybe I will never be who I once was. Maybe I think the change unfairly violent. My head still rings from the impact, a resonance that feels like it will last a lifetime. I've had to carve out caskets for the parts of me that didn't survive the crash. And it's so hard to show you where it hurts when all the damage is in my head. Not imagined, but starkly real. Thoughts caught in a tangled net of neurons. I've let them hurt me to make me better. When do we first start letting healers make incisions and attach electrodes? I let the bastards turn me off. But am I not better now? Has there not been healing? Perhaps the cataclysm was necessary to begin the metamorphosis, however painful. And hell, I probably needed the humbling. Don't we all need some time in the mud we've made? A reminder this crown comes with a cost and can be taken away. Forgive me if I shake my fists at the sky. We have an understanding. There's not a scar I have he hasn't seen. I find myself at the edge of one life, watching another slowly recede. A world that continues without me, where everyone is moving on. I've said my goodbyes, waved to those who were watching, smiled and cried and remembered. I'm tired of grief. Take these shrouds away. I stand ready to resume the climb. Feel the quickened heartbeats as we reach skyward towards home, wherever that may prove to be.
My mama asked me, how do I manage it all? How do I keep the aggressive dog equal but separate? How do I manage the bad moods of my sister? I answered, I keep it all under control, having seen for a lifetime worst case scenarios, having watched yet failed in preventable death and mayhem. Now I am a full lighthouse of caution. I tell my husband, watch out for the dog in the driveway, the cat under the tractor wheel, the dirt bike which flips over, the cow which crushes you against the gate. Helps that I am unafraid to yell shrill. Don't do that, you'll die. I tell my children about all the awful true crime things I have watched on Peacock, that they should always make an Uber driver say their name, or they could be murdered. I drop them off at Target and ask, what are the rules? They say, don't get kidnapped, Mama. I have no control over their phones. I tell the deer and turkey, don't cross the road. I tell teenagers with my gentle eyes, you will someday be okay. I tell small things to watch out for cats, to not get maimed and eaten and destroyed. These feel like preventable things. I'm aware of them because I've seen them all before. Yet somehow I don't listen. When it comes to myself, I am a sure, careful driver with my mother or my children in the car. Alone, I want to burn it all to hell. Swerve and die, swerve and die. Apparatus of chaos. I don't stop drinking. I don't stop smoking. I am a cancer Hitler, and I am also Eva Braun. Whore to whoever will leave the light on. I lay awake, imagining horror. My dreams are nothing less than Freddy Krueger. The most common dream is me in a car. And no matter how hard I press down on the brakes, the car careens forward, lurching and bucking like me breaking my back off a young horse in a frozen driveway in April. I take down pedestrians and crash into pylons, apparatus of mayhem, destruction. In the end, I am cataloging my trauma in a Dewey Decimal System, which has no index cards, no sliding metal drawers, not alphabetical, not rational. It's me trying to save others from all the mistakes I have made, whilst hanging myself out on the clothesline, standing tall in front of the firing squad for an unfortunate preventable death.
The night hum before you even touch me, like the river folding its breath behind a wall of earth. Desires rose, filling like a glass tide. Let me start over, because what was I trying to do right there? Okay, let me start over. The night hum before you even touch me, like the river holding its breath behind a wall of earth. Desires rose, filling like a dark glass tide, pressing against quietness I wore skin. The levee inside me trembled. Your glance was warning the current would not be contained. I beckon you closer, not with words, but with slow spill of my pulse, at hollow of my throat, with tilt of my breath begging for rain to meet my fire. Your presence moved through the room in way a storm rose in from the gulf. No haste, just gathering heat, carrying scent of thunder in its palms. Time unlocked itself from the clock. Air thickened and space between our breaths became a shoreline waiting to be breached. When you finally reached me, it was like the first crack of earth, a release I felt before I could name. Tension folded, walls softened, and everything that kept me whole leaned towards surrender. I remember the slow press of gravity, how the world narrowed at arc of your hands tracing my spine, your cresses lingering on my shores, weight of your gaze mapping every shiver across my skin. Our heat were fault lines shifting, two plates grinding, pressure giving way to tremor, no rush necessary. And then the river finally breaking through, flooding silence with warmth that remade us. You lingered after, fingers trailing over edges you'd undone, gathering the scattered glitter of my breath as if rebuilding what you'd unravel was in its own act of devotion. In the aftermath, the room still carried hush of our shallow breaths, and somewhere in that hush, I felt whole again. I realized the river hadn't just broken the levee, it drew a new shoreline, leaving its signature inside me, a shape that will remember your tide long after the waters fall calm.
The murky image I once saw in the mirror did not reflect, sadly, the illustrious magnificence of being, that golden window within that I struggled to emulate in my troublesome attire of outer opulence. I came from my ancestors' blessings carved out under sacrifice, fortitude, and love, their souls bleeding from dark experiences, perhaps not felt since in human history, one that still peers through the ugly windows of power. Yet bewitched by the red flames of passion, my desires drowned me in shadows, clinging to me like the scent of a bad odor in the fiery heat of summer. The taste of denial and remorse had become my bosom friends. Garlic and pepper, my adversarial flames, burned into wounds left open by cravings and attachments, the sugary molasses of allure tearing into my bleeding wounds. My windows of peace were fragile, cold glass complacent to the toxic fumes scattered by the corporate few upon those hiding in bunkers with neither skylight nor opportunities to set them free. Faced by a daily barrage of disquiet, insecurity, and fear, there were no panes of openings, no Venetian blinds to enhance the beauty in my heart. My slots of apertures were occasional breaks, and windows of promises were minimal. Fast forward to the sacrament of the present moment, and the voice of heaven echoes through a mirror, no more reminding me of my impediments. I embrace the light of my quintessence as I simply be myself. Wisdom has revealed itself with its translucence of the sun. My drapes are open, and a new kind of luster shimmers within my bedroom curtains, transposing the inner aspects of a celestial brilliance. My face now shines like moonbeams. No more the dreary pains of darkness resulting from a soul too entangled to transpose the light. My inner stars whispers love letters to the flawless dawn, cascading kisses to the breeze, embracing my breath like magic. No more the mistiness of my true self. My tomorrows are carved on the crest of rainbows and horizons, my joy cascading from the ethereal regions of sweetest love. A magenta autumn beauty has erased the thorns from my passions, and a beacon of rays glow anew. My kundalini awakens, running lovingly up the spine of my shafts of light, and I see only the wings of love waltzing through my window. The mirror of happiness is a crown hidden in the source of my existence, revealing itself in fullness from the windows of my soul.
I secretly think that I am better than you. I say that with the utmost respect, which is due. I didn't succumb. I held on for my children. But please understand, I know what could have happened to me. I know what women are capable of. I once did an MRI of my brain for the sake of science, allowed them to study my horrible misfirings. Grad students lined up alongside the radiology chair. Persistent, severe, major depressive disorder, which does not respond to therapy or medication. Biome mapping, looking for lighted patterns, denigrated synapses. I lent them my mind in hopes that someday it would help someone else. For 2 hours, I laid there with a button under my thumb, magnets clanging in and around my skull for a measly $100. Why do I do anything I do? But remember this, I'm still alive. Did they study your brain? I mean, afterwards, would you have wanted them to? My dark is not as saturated nor brilliantly stained as yours. One difference I do know, I took the pills they were feeding me, buckets of meds, and annoying weekly therapy, again and again discussed the divorce and the rape, a tape so old it's yellow, beetle scraped, like the bile in my liver itching to spill on the faces of those who abandoned me. Did I die like Sylvia, or did I survive like Elisabeth?
They say you're the Messiah. I have not known you to be contained in cypress or sepulchres, nor even in my nearest Jewish synagogue. I searched for you in the lofty Sanskrit sutras, but you were not confined to manuscripts and doctrines. I paid homage to the sacred shrines of Mecca, but found instead that you are hidden in my heart. Who exalted Moses in the burning bush? Didn't you ascend from a cross and rose victorious? O light of my light, they tried to restrict you in boxes, yet your love proceeded the eloquence of scholars, rose again in the breath of the one called Lazarus. Daniel was cast into a den of lions, but you entered the lair, adorning his soul with rhapsody. The magenta leaves cascade your elegance, while darkness covers you in shrouds, only so you can rise again in the supernal excellence of daybreak. When I'm in pain and suffering, you even hide within my tears, a dark night which makes me tremble, only to show adversity as the candle of your love. You're the one with numerous names and forms, the pure white snow dancing, cradle in the dawn of the New Jerusalem. Joseph was thrown into a well of suffering, but you lifted him to glory in his Father's kingdom. No prison bars a dream, neither is thy love contained in narrow lanes. You're in the breeze and ethereal symphonies, paint sunsets in my shadows, cradle me in my joys and transient shadows. You are the blue landscape in the firmament, the quintessence of my excellence, and I long for the smile of your awakening sunrise. Beloved, I have torn my garment of emotions only to place it on your remedial table. I have fashioned this heart in the agony of yearning for a sweet glimpse of thy feet. You came to me in my darkness, lifted me up from ignorance, embracing me like a father and son. Now I want to hold you as close as possible to my joy so we can both cry out in ecstasy as one. Beloved, fill my heart with the joy of the prodigal returning to glory in his father's house. Grant me the fire of Daniel, heart burning with unshakable faith in the middle of a den of lions. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into a fiery furnace by the king of Babylon. But you came walking through the flames, vanquishing the heat with your breath of love. Aye, my deliverer, such sweetness in thy symphony. Now my soul becomes a delicate harp, echoing the psalms of David's lute, adorning the grandeur of the scarlet moon. Cute, dazzling empress, delight of my delights, you that hide in the cove the realm of immortals, give light to the sun and moon, breathe in the wonder of shooting stars and the bewildering spectacle of galaxies. Come.
Bakers carried bread in coffins as stones rained down. The lights went out, then the lights went on, as the power of hate marched in with sticks and whips and nighttime trips to empty market stalls, made so by the Taliban who opened the locks and made them stand up and fight back. Behind closed doors being called whores for wanting to work and treat and educate, and hiding in barren fields that yield no crops, but not hiding the tears that cost their livelihoods and sometimes their life, and the disappeared dentist who helped and shouted in the face of hate, bread, work, freedom, and taught the children of the oppressed not to yield. And in their tented darkness, peeking through the flaps, the keen learning of their eyes trained to work in half-light, don't forget what they see, chalking each grey day on a slate for their daughters of tomorrow, lessons they must memorize. And women of Afghanistan carry baked bread in coffins as the stones rain down and the lights go out, and nighttime trips made to empty market stalls, made by the Taliban behind closed doors. Women are whores for wanting to work and educate and teach and feed, and hiding in barren fields that yield no crops. Their tears, their livelihoods lost, and sometimes their lives are the lives of those who helped and shouted in the face of oppression. Bread, work, freedom. And now you see us, now you don't. Game, fallacious peekaboo, locking doors for felt security, gang coup our wombs behind walls of denial. We're not insecure, they shout. We're not afraid, they cry, but we will not let you out. We are the good guys. And if only hangs dusty in closets, while deposits of fear hang closer, so each cloth-covered face never feels the warm embrace of a breeze or the ease of the sun, without mesh brushing a silence, closed lip, and that tight closed grip that will never be released. Since all promises became dust, we will become, if only.
Oboe, rowboat, potato salad sandwich. Tomato, banana, hamster, and a cabbage. Big fellow, rubella, rabbi, and a hand bike. Firecracker, walrus tracker, chocolate-covered espresso beans. You see, Schnickel Fritz, penguin lips, angry newts withhold their answer. Samurai, pumpkin pie, are those monkeys in the sky? Edward Teach, Rapid Peach, your dinner guests were not invited. Snaggletooth, supple sleuth, dangle kangaroo. Cheese doodle, standard poodle, crackers and a slow pitch. Crocodile, domicile, mud huts by an old hutch. Wacky tobacco, where are the good lackeys? No one is inside my shoe. Submarine, guillotine, whatever will I do? You see, you have to understand. Bubblegum on my thumb, this is a pleasant Tuesday. Ukulele, private navy, skipping on a sidewalk. Understanding, bumpy landing, being upside down, railroad, data node, information superhighway. Donut hole, casserole, khaki slacks, and rubber sneakers. Snicker snack, lumberjack, lightning in the pie. Raven fingers, kinda lingers, where did my manners go? Velociraptor, car adapter, disestablishmentarianism. What I'm trying to say is, broken rhino, green albino, you'll need to put the nozzle down. Studebaker, taffy maker, soft, like kitten's mittens. Public speaker, half-filled beaker, your answer's under there. Call me crazy, pluck my daisy, salt, this underwear. Dark matters, love scatters, hearts in dervish twirls. Music box, money talks, I have your husband in my pants. Leaf litter, death critter, bring your longships up the shore. Surfboard, marked and scored, falling sadly in the winds. This may come as a surprise, but aspirations, penetration, there's holes inside your cargo pants. Zombie brain goes jalapenos, discombobulation. How hovercraft, Howard Taft, the thick are taking over. Underscore, umbrella store, there's something in the stroller. Tonic water, toxic blotter, whose ink is in this squid? Lily pad, Galahad, who ate the katydid? Cicada killer, Aaron Miller, no vorpal blade will help you now. The slivy toves have gone out grave. So returns the Jabberwock.
When I was called natural looking out of kindness and some sort of fear of silence, it left a taste of artificial sweetness in the air. Like they were perusing the ice cream aisle and really wanted the good stuff, but the vanilla was on sale. Cumulus clouds of splenda, contrived compliments to obscure true perception to console your conscience. Starve me of words, no need to satiate. I may lack cleavage, not at risk of conviction. Words, as a man holding a door open for me, drop the handle, my skin doesn't tan. The gas station attendant, I believe him though. He says I have the bluest eyes. Poem. That's something to go somewhere. And the next, this is an old one, and I don't know who, I'm sure no one's heard it on here. So, and this is titled Gone to Seed. Here it is growing up my neck and onto my chin, a hormonal highway. Little hairs like a billy goat, I pluck each one. I do so in an ultra magnified mirror, and there I also notice a smear of blonde, soft wheat fair and presenting prepubescent, spread across my lip, my top lip that I just bit. As my neck turns, little spots of 4 decades creep upside my head where mutton chops would grow on a man, and there's no way to change this tide. This ocean inside me, a furling, frothing mixture of me, my own little self, my own beautiful machine, oiling itself as it pulses, growing in ways that it is supposed to grow. It's natural that my spine confuses itself for mozzarella cheese sometimes, and my hair wants to grow somewhere else for a change, wants to try out new things as freckles stretch and develop into more grown-up colors of beige. These new blooms I am told to snip so that I don't go to seed. Smear your skin with serums, roto-root those pores with chemical peels. With a vain fear my mom warned me about, colors changing and how we sprout is necessary, how we meld and forge elements of love, change, mercy, hurt, rage, steam, and salt, and allow them to sift through our beings from root to tip, developing the character that we see. Let us be who we are and not question the wild hares. Let us be the love which we taste on our tongues.
I'm a funky nematode, melted cheese under my shoes as I walk the pizza road. Step into the cytoplasmic ocean, deviating from the penis code. Blinging slow, I'm a gradual build to a jazz crescendo built for the Regent show. Chico Hamilton quartets cannot outblast my starting five. Didgeridoo rockstar, aboriginalized estrogen raised the roof above my darling skies. Cancel all homicide, robot brain roaming remotely trying to locate the octopi. Found self, squirting ink, but not because phobia is holding the conch. I'm controlling the swamp, surrender to the tar pit whence Oakland is launched. From Hoboken to the Twomps, I'm swollen, having a romp. Broken was what I was taught. Fixed now, Jedi student enrollment's all I got. Cobra soaking in the clock, hood out like cop watch to smoke scoping the black mystery. Couldn't find a crime, so they planted drugs on us because the Moors took Sicily. Epiphanius Persephone, Stephanie Mills on the road to the wizard of Ozymandias symmetry, world's smartest non-binary being, flip the nostalgia for a whiff of burning rotisserie. We can forget it for you wholesale, pay us in blood, genocide versus race memory. Mixtape celery, night stalker daywalking out of his comfort zone, resisting all entropy. Wedding rings coveted by Gollum, now on magnetic masturbation. Trekked across Middle Earth with my dog Rocco. Claytheism promotes Satan's cancellation. 37 and a quarter off, 100% shooting. Magic like Aleister Crowley. Balance of phallus of algae. Elegy for seaweed dust heads, still rallying proudly. Like crack pipers boasting about descending in a sunken place for that white rock. Got a crew of Rosicrucians lusting for chocolate. Three eyes closed and I'm Cyclops. Psyched out the game. Back for revenge, seeing red menaces. Dumbing out like McCarthy, judgmental massacring everything in sight and still claim ethicists. Medicine men, Salvador Dalai Lama was ultimately discredited, but bounced back like Tucson to slay Nazis and catalyze intellectual exodus. I'm the Ayatollah of ayahuasca, watch for motherships and men of earth digging. Misdirection, flip the script, lynching the mob's henchmen, honorably wriggling. From worms, we became larvae, ran it back and became ancient souls. Shoveling toxic waste, shuttling Jesus' physical form over radio. Flesh becomes electricity, becomes broadbands in megabytes. Caucasians are anti-dendrite, Bialites planting seeds to decolonialize settlers' rights. This land we don't owe a shit but our matriarchal revolt. Sundial to quantum supercomputer. Militarized kindness waged debacle assault. Army of shadows fought for Schwartz Commando, rocking blowout afros. A million Huey Newtons landlocked in Palestine, resurrecting broken arrows. Paddle through neutrons, odysseys way beyond uninformed randos. Snatch bait and tackle wormholes, eating the pharaoh out. Cannon catapulting body of Rambo.
The first taste of you wasn't a kiss. It was a hit straight to my bloodstream where reason flatlined under the rush. You were the kind of man who could make my heart confess to do things it didn't want to do. It was in your smile, how it read my rights in language I didn't care to translate. Hell, I surrendered before words fell from your lips. Your touch synergized my veins like sirens. You were so intoxicating, giving me a rush that made me forget where the cuffs were waiting on the other end. I thought I was finally high on something holy. I didn't realize your attention had me overdosing on possibilities, and I ignored the signs at first. Told myself love was supposed to leave its mark, but when then evidence started coming up short, I started seeing things for what they were. Stories weren't matching scenes, timelines stuttered and skipped the beats, and then there was the perfume that wasn't mine, testifying against you while you swore your innocence. Every time I pieced the puzzles together, you scattered them across the floor, told me I was crazy for seeing the picture like I was coming up short. You turned my questions into cross examinations, my instincts into cross over actions, worked me over like a seasoned detective asking questions with answers you'd already planted. You had me doubting my own memory, apologizing for standing too close to the truth. The first time you disappeared, I called it a misunderstanding. The second, I blamed my overthinking. By the third, I knew you were tugging at strings, teasing how much unraveling it would take before I fell apart in your hands. But by the fourth time, you left. You didn't even bother with excuses. No apologies, no lies, just left me begging to keep you. Your silence was heavy enough to crush the floor beneath me. That's when I realized you weren't tugging at threads anymore. You were scattering what was left of me, only to walk away and leave me in pieces. And that's when I started to snap. All the receipts I kept, I folded like love notes only I could translate. I sat in your chair day after day when you weren't even home, even though I didn't have a key. I left fingerprints on your favorite things so you would feel haunted in your own house. I wore your cologne till it sank in my skin, so every time she kissed you, she was kissing me too. They call it stalking. I call it loyalty. You don't get to leave me now. I play for keeps, but I told you this from the beginning when I stitched your name in my skin till ink seeped into my veins. I stopped being the witness, the victim, the one you left in the dark. I parked across the street in unmarked cars, watched your every coming and going. Hell, I knew when you text her, ask good morning. I watched y'all make love and saw you didn't stroke her like you stroked me. You felt my eyes on you. You just couldn't see me. You thought you were playing me now, silly rabbit. See, tricks are for kids. I know all the dates, times, and places where you laid up with this bitch. Yeah, I was there a few times, come to think of it. So look who's crazy now. I want to watch the moment you realize the hole you left for me is the one you'll never crawl out of. I knew when I met you I'd end up in white. Not the lace kind with pretty veils, but the kind that they thought would keep me locked away. So it's no fun when the rabbit has the gun, is it? Too bad you didn't speak your truth until you heard my finger pull the trigger.
Dark avenues like red tunnels telescope back into her inner eye. Streetlights bend in the steam of frying bat meat. Motel shadows full of suspended eyes cast shadows down in hidden deals of cultural force fields. Bugs pour from the cracks in the mirror that line her face with age. She was sure she could lead the homeless army over the wall of the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, to dig up the pharaoh and use his skull like a radio to free the internet slaves. It was snowing dope in the desert, all fangs numb with angel feathers. She sneezed and blew her cover so the cameras descended on her and x-rayed her soul until she believed she never had one. She thought if she could reincarnate into her enemy and then commit suicide, she could loop time back to before the world was poisoned like a well. Smoking looms of memories flashed like lightning in the fog and burned her silhouette across the back wall of the Circle K. After her paranoid poems were rejected for channeling the dead, she intoned them like stand-up comedy to her doctors, who decided to laugh and stroked their beards and declared her cured and shaved their goats and bottled her tears and sold self-help books based on the social media version of herself with a close-up of her carbon footprint on the book jacket. Pungent flowers will grow from the decay of her good intentions, blocked orgasms, confabulated glory days, menstrual sunsets, lined pen pals, parent expectations, self-inflicted lobotomies, fever halos, conspiracies with the moon, apocalyptic codes, bonfires with the damned, the eulogy she wrote for herself, her caramelized brain, garbage islands, melting mushrooms, elephants in the room, dental dams, teddy bears, street corner prophets, endless lists of regurgitated objectivity, and personal madness giggling like musical rubber numbers under the shade of time. Will we ever sleep again? Will we ever dream in a new language? Will we be able to change the world but preserve our precious melancholy mythology? Or can peace only arrive through desolation? Can we, through trial and error, checks and balances, be crowned with utopia, teetering on the peak of this round of recorded history? Torn by time, skinless, stretched on the rack of the sun, wheeling in slow motion, teeth shattered in TV static, shh, it or God whispers. Every now and then, one needs some good news, some good head, some dumb luck, something unplanned, or for plans to go right and feel like a god. Every now and then, a good meal, deep sleep, or to party until the sun comes up. Every now and then, some new music that is good as the old, to see old friends still alive and meet authors long dead, to laugh at death and cry into breasts, and occasionally some recognition that we stand out because we can see and say how deep down we're all the same.